And talking of marketing flaws, Phil, you've put one in your notes to us about a mistake that you've made where you were making you spent hours and hours and hours shooting a YouTube video. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you did?
So at the top of this show, we spoke about what is known in the sort of industry as the input bias, which is this idea that the more effort you put into something, the more people value the effort. We spoke about the studies with the kitchens. I think that's enough to explain how that works. I created an episode of Nudge where I thought, I'm going to test this and I'm going to try and apply this while I create 2 YouTube videos. So I created 2 YouTube videos which were on the same topic. It was me playing quite an obscure geography game. You're now going to think, well, Phil, that's why I didn't go viral. But quite an obscure geography game called GeoGuessr. And in the game, I basically try and beat a high score. In one of the videos, I show all of my effort. So I show these time lapses of me spending hours trying to beat the highest score, hours studying, hours trying to work on it. And then I create another video where I just show the final result, me beating the high score. I published both on different channels, both with the same, very similar titles, very similar descriptions, and essentially said to the listeners of the episode, let's wait and see. Let's all now look and see which one gets the most views. I imagine it'll be the one where I showcase my effort. And I was, to be fair to I was proven right. I think the one which showcased the effort had more views, but the problem was neither of them got more than 1,000 views. So it was like sort of tiny numbers. It definitely wasn't a viral video. And I think the important point to remember there is that behavioral science, marketing psychology, it gives you a really good lever to amplify the work you're already doing. If you're already a fantastic author, finding ways to apply behavioral science will make your writing even more impressive. If you already create a really delicious burger, using behavioral science can make people enjoy it even more. I am not great at creating viral YouTube videos. I've had a few, but definitely not viral YouTube videos about obscure geography games. And so that one, it really didn't work. But to my credit, I didn't give up there. I really love this idea of the more effort you put into something, the more you get out. And I did a follow-up experiment, and it wasn't really an experiment, but let's call it an experiment so it sounds a bit more fancy, where I was talking at a conference, and I really wanted my talk to be the best talk of the day. And so I thought, all I have to do is make people believe that I've put a load of effort into this talk. So how do I do that? I could stick a load of gifts under each of the seats, or I could spend ages making really fancy slides. But then I thought, really literally, what's the most literal way of putting effort into giving this talk? Well, what's the hardest way I could get to the conference? I could hike. So the day before the conference, I decided to hike 61 kilometres to Poole in the south of the UK. 61 kilometres is a marathon and another half marathon on top of that. I had to have my laptop in my rucksack on my back, so I got awful back pain. The most ridiculous blisters that had their own centre of gravity, essentially. Hiked for the whole day, got there, prepared my slides in like the 2 minutes before I got on stage, gave the presentation, and the presentation was all about the psychology of effort. And I was sort of being quite meta and being like, I put a lot of effort into this, and showing all of the sort of funny things I saw on that hike. And the guy who organized the conference, Mark Masters, I emailed him afterwards. I said, you've got to tell me what people thought. And he said, yeah, that was the most popular talk of the day. People really loved it. Well done. Point proven. And look, that's a pretty ridiculous way of applying that. But I think it does prove that the more effort you put into something, the more value you get out of it. And even though it didn't really work for me on my YouTube videos, for something that I'm a bit better at, which is giving a conference talk, it really did work.
I mean, you've not got me inspired to go out and hike 65 odd miles to do a talk. That's impressive, though, that you did.
Let's hike to our next pitch, Chris. I think we're sold on that.
Yeah, maybe not.
Good idea.